Okay, this is part 3 of our lesson on loops, and I wanted to show you how you can use a loop in conjunction with a list to do some cool things. So I already have a list created here. This is called an array, and it's an array of strings. So each item of this list is just a string, a text value. And I called it nature words, and each of the words is just something to do with nature. We've got bug, worm, sand, bark, field, sun, tree, mouse, etc. Okay. So I'm going to create a program that can go through and filter the words by how many letters there are in each word. So let's start by asking the user how many letters they want to look for. So let's just create an output statement, say enter a number of letters, and we need to store the response. So let's create a scanner actually. Okay, and we need to import scanner, so we add the import. And then right here, I'm going to store that number of letters as a variable. We'll just call it numLetters. And set it to be s.nextInt. Okay, so now that we have that number of letters that they're looking for, let's just set up a loop where we go over every item in this list and we check each individual one how many letters it has. So we can say for int I equals 0 and I is less than naturewords.length. So that will just tell us exactly how many things are in this list so that we can iterate for every single one. And I'm just going to say if the item at naturewords spot I, which of course is going to change each iteration of this loop, so this will just give us the current word we're looking at each time. So if the length of that is equal to the number of letters that they're looking for, then we'll display that. Display that word. So we can just say nature words at position I. And let's make it more descriptive here. Right before the loop, we'll also tell them what we're displaying. We'll say words in list with numLetters letters. Okay. All right, let's test it. So it says enter number of letters. I'm going to say 4, and it gives me all of the words in this list that have 4 letters. It's kind of cool, huh? I can filter by 3-letter words, and now it gives me all the words that have 3 letters in them. If I choose a number of letters that there aren't any words in it, such as like 50, of course there aren't any 50-letter words in there, so it just doesn't have any items. If I look for 2-letter words, there's also no 2-letter words there. Okay, so that's a really cool way you can use a loop to go through all of the items in a list one by one and do something specifically with each item. And there's even a shortcut you can use. Instead of setting up a real specific definition like I did right here, it turns out this is such a common thing people do that most programming languages have what's called a for each loop, where you can just say for every item in this list I want to do something. So that would look like this. I could just say for every string, and we'll just call it word, in nature words, I'm just going to check that by its variable name word that I just assigned it in the loop. So that would still work. Oh, I'll also have to change it here. So I can say word, and that'll also work. So that's what's called a for each loop, where we're just saying for each item of a list, do something. Let me pull it up. I just want to demonstrate that it still works. Perfect. Cool. So there you go. Cool way to use loops.